Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about the Imago Dei, so what it means to be made in the image of God. The Imago Dei concept is referred to in scriptures, however, there are no clear or precise definitions as to what the image of God is actually referring to. This results in many differing views. Historically, theologians believe that the term directly related to human beings' mind and bodies, that is to say, how humans looked and thought. Some people have argued that the Imago Dei simply refers to our physicality or humanity's good deeds, yet others claim the Imago Dei relates to humans in their entirety bearing the image of God, that's spiritually, physically, emotionally, and cognitively, claiming that it is evident in our very nature and our core design for relationship. Yet, because of sin, we are no longer reflecting the whole image of God. However, redemption and forgiveness of sins came through the life and sacrifice of the perfect image of an invisible God through Jesus as a new human, restoring the broken image of God and renewing the relationship between God and humanity. The Christian worldview of Imago Dei asserts that all human life is valuable, whether male, female, born, unborn, and regardless of social class or situation. These values are needed in the world today as culture becomes embedded with a message that contradicts the biblical statement of humanity's equality and value. Sider argues that the Imago Dei has in mind the will, freedom of choice, self-consciousness, self-transcendence, self-determination, rationality, morality, and spirituality of man. Yet to ascertain precisely what the image of God is, we need to know and love God. The Imago Dei provides a framework for examining the question of the value of life, purpose, and design in humanity. It describes the relationship between God and all of humanity and explores human qualities that allow God to be manifested through humans on earth. Therefore, determining that the image of God is not just about what we do as God's representatives in creation, but being made in God's image also has to do with who we are and at the same time about who we will be, and helps to understand the world in which we live. Despite the various interpretations of the Imago Dei, I don't believe that it was a concept that God done away with after the fall or at the completion of the Old Testament scriptures. We are still made in God's image, although diminished. It's the same image that God sent his son to restore. And this is affirmed in 2 Corinthians, where it talks about we are all being transformed into his image with ever increasing glory, which comes from the Lord. And this demonstrates that it's actually an ongoing transformation. I realised that much like the kingdom message, the message of Imago Dei is multifaceted. The notion of Imago Dei encapsulates common difficult life questions. What am I worth? Why do I exist? And what is my calling? Yet without truly understanding the Imago Dei, we are not just alienated from God, but ourselves. In a time when humanity is defined by what they feel and what they do, and every step is captured on social media, it's even more difficult for human beings to find purpose and meaning. Additionally, when God's image is hidden from us, it's easy to remove the focus from God and instead focus on self. Yet the reality of the Imago Dei testifies to the fact that it's not just about us, it's about Him who we reflect. Focusing on self won't provide the in-depth answers humanity seeks to find. The Imago Dei can only be understood through a relationship with God, and it paints a contradictory picture to the things the world values and masquerades as good. The Imago Dei does provide a richer understanding of the Godhead and revelation by drawing us to the Creator and to our most desired by design relationship. Acting as a perfect reminder and example, revealing to us what we should be, what we should look like as a supreme expression of glory of creation here on earth, and provides purpose. God's image motivates Christians to love all people and feel a sense of value and purpose, affirming that we are not here by accident or forgotten by God. The Imago Dei shows that the church cannot hold to the idea of being made in God's image and still ignore the needs of humanity in this world. Since all humanity is made in God's image, a true understanding of the Imago Dei will help the church in making a godly difference in a world that is broken, rather than to justify inaction and to remain unstained by the world. The Imago Dei allows us to communicate with God and reflect God's characteristics as defined in Scripture. Therefore, the image of God in some ways acts to give Christians the opportunity to get involved in messy situations, dealing with the unlovable for the glory of God. Christians are called to see the world not as it is, but as it will be, and therefore see humanity as it can be through Christ. As a passionate advocate for women and children's global human rights and working with vulnerable teenage mothers, studying this unit has allowed me to understand that the Imago Dei actually forms the basis of the human rights and social justice argument, particularly in relation to children, that they were evidently valued during Jesus' ministry on earth. Therefore, because Jesus and God esteems life, we must esteem life, valuing children and their innocence that reflects the very image of God. When we fail to value as God values, we see the results, and this shows up through the abortion debate, racism, and violence against children, and highlights that humans and human rights workers and advocates are actually outworking the truth of Imago Dei in a society that has very little appreciation for the sanctity of life. Therefore, I can continue to do this work despite the current climate in knowing that humanity was a pinnacle of creation and that God's ultimate desire throughout Scripture was to restore to Him intimate relationships with human beings. Being carriers of God's image should motivate Christians working in these fields to take a stand for social change to things in this world that are systematically broken. We should stand up, empower people, working in a unified approach, being creative, speaking up, and working to find and act as a solution in the world. We should be able to treat others with dignity, regardless of their colour, gender, sexuality, status, or situation, and certainly regardless of their epistemology, eschatology, ecclesiology, anthropology, and anexology. We are working to reveal God's goodness and love in our own lives, but also in the lives of those around us. We should offer compassion and charity, exhibit tolerance, and have a relationship with and serve others. As Christians, we can strive for unity and peace, still embody the kingdom and the image of God, and engage with other worldviews. Yet, despite all of this, our focus should be on Christ, for without Him, we have nothing. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining me for this essay, and I pray it's blessed you. And if you want to have a look at any of the bibliography references, please do so. And yeah, hopefully it's given you a greater understanding of what the Imago Dei is and what it means to be made in the image of God today. Thank you.